News Radio 840 WHAS coming up on today's Louisville Real Estate Show as we prepare for 2025. A number of questions from people asking about the pre-approval process and when to start getting pre-approved for a mortgage. Also, if you're a real estate agent and you're showing a property and you break something in the seller's home, what should you do? We'll find out about that. And this is an interesting one. Why you may want to put a roll of toilet paper in your refrigerator. It's the first that I've heard of, but let's talk about it. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Sokoler, owner of the Sokoler team, RE/MAX Properties East. Thank you for joining us. We've got a great show. Let me just introduce the folks on today's show to the top of the hour. Continuing with us throughout that full half hour, we've got Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. You can reach Randy anytime at 645-0736. They do a great job of shopping the loan to get you the best rates. Also with us, Chuck Crosby. He's the head guy over at the Crosby Law Office. You can reach Chuck for not only scheduling a closing for your home, but also for a will, or if you need a power of attorney or foreclosure defense or commissioner sale. You can reach Chuck at 499-6360. And if you're thinking of selling your home or buying a home this year, this next couple of days, or next year, or beyond, I would love to be able to help you. I work both in Louisville, surrounding areas, southern Indiana, no home too big, no home too small. You can reach me at 376-5483 or go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form and hit submit. And if you want a free analysis of what your home is worth, computerized, but it's a start, you can go to WeSellLouisville.com, click on the top of the page, and we go from there. Let's start with Chuck Crosby over at the Crosby Law Office. We're going to call this person Samuel. It's not his real name. Here's why. Samuel is a local real estate agent. He says in this email he pulled the filter of an HVAC as he was walking through showing a buyer, and it didn't get back in. In fact, he says he kind of broke it, and he's wondering what should he did do something, but what should his recourse have been? Chuck?
What should he have done? He should have immediately told the person that it was broken and then make arrangements to repair it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Anything else that he needs to do?
No, you immediately tell the homeowner that you broke it and get it fixed.
And let me throw a little caveat on that. What if the buyer you're walking with does something and breaks it? What do you do then?
You also should tell the homeowner that it's broken and arrange to repair it.
Good. Right. That's exactly what he did. But he was worried that there was anything else. Yeah. That's exactly what he did. But I know there are a lot of sellers that are worried when there's a buyer and a buyer agent walking through, they might do damage. And it's the kind of the code for all of us as agents. For those of you sellers or potential sellers wondering, is you contact the seller agent immediately. Mm-hmm. Explain what happened, and then you make restitution out of your own pocket. Yeah.
Otherwise, they find out, as they will, and then they will know who did it, because there's a paper trail a mile wide who was in your house, and then it'll become a thing.
Yeah, it will become a thing. Yeah, and
plus, it's the right thing to do.
Right. You got to live by that. You really do that standard. All right. Over to Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. We got several of these questions. So, Randy, I'm going to lump these together because I think as we get into 2025, I think there are a lot of folks who are thinking that this is going to be the year I'm going to buy a home. So let me start with these questions. Jacob says he's about to buy his first home in 2025. He's wondering in this email, how does he get pre-approved for a mortgage? We also received a question from Amanda who asks, generally, what are the steps involved in the mortgage application process? And then Joshua, who says he listens to our show every weekend, in this email, he says, can I get a mortgage? He says, he has a low credit score and a history of bankruptcy. So those three questions, if you want to take those one at a time, let's talk about the process of getting a mortgage application in. Ready?
So what we do is send a link over, usually by cell phone, and they click the link and fill it out. It takes about 5 minutes. If they have someone else that's going to be on the mortgage, it takes another 5 minutes, and then we pull credit and start the process. And then at that point, we find out what assets are going to use for down payment, if there's going to be a down payment. What's their debt to income? How much income do you make, and how much debt do they have, and what is the maximum they could qualify for? And most importantly, what's their budget for payment? That's the big one. And we do that all in. So make sure when you're talking to a loan officer that it's taxes and insurance, and if you have not put 20% down, what's the private mortgage insurance going to be? So what's your overall payment going to be?
Okay, that pretty much takes care of the questions about getting pre-approved, and then how early, and I would suggest you get pre-approved sooner than later, and then probably, how long does a pre-approval letter last, Randy? Is it 3 months?
You have to close within 120 days when you pull credit.
Okay, so 4 months. Yeah.
But I really recommend that you do it a year in advance. And even for me, my children, they started at 18 getting their credit. And the reason I say that is if there's something on there that shouldn't be, or if there's something on there that we have a situation where we could take care of, you have time then to take care of it before you actually want to buy a home. And these things do take time. If there's a problem on the credit, if there's not a problem on the credit, great. And then we tell you, hey, this is what you need to do. And I won't get into that, but to maintain credit.
And on the last part of this thing, a low credit score or a history of bankruptcy.
So that's that. What we do is put a roadmap together on how to improve your credit. So yes, the person that has that situation happening is I recommend as soon as possible to have your credit pulled and talk to a professional that can help you get on the roadmap to buying a home. And
a bankruptcy only lasts how long, Randy?
It will if it's a 13. Yeah. You can do it right away. A 7, you can do it within 2 years. You can get a home within 2 years.
Okay, hopefully that helps. A reminder, you can see the rebroadcast of today's show. And you may hear something that piques your interest or want to forward it to somebody. You can go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. If you're thinking of selling, you want to see what are the reviews, because we highly recommend no matter what you do, no matter who you talk to, that you look at the reviews, and we made it easy for you. Go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com and read the reviews there. Hopefully, you'll appreciate the work that we do to hopefully get our clients into their home and happy. All right, back over to Chuck Crosby at the Crosby Law Office. Madison sent us an email saying she paid cash for a home in Bullitt County last year and has just found out there was a lien filed against the property that the closing attorney never disclosed. She's wondering what are our options, and can she sue the closing attorney? What are you thinking about that, Chuck?
Well, first off, that's why you get title insurance, okay? Because there's a lot of different ways that liens can be missed. There was the interesting situation with Jefferson County land records earlier this year. I know this is Bullitt County. Things happen like that. That's why you get title insurance. Now, if a lien is on the property, it's an actual lien, she closed, it's a title claim. You make that title claim. Now, if they didn't get title insurance, if the attorney just plain missed it and whatever, there's a cause of action there. That's why everybody carries malpractice insurance.
But it is possible that a lien was placed after the closing or between the time of the check and the closing? Yeah.
Well, what you're supposed to do is run the title, find any liens out there. Then you update the day of closing when, I do it before I cut checks. If it's filed between then and the time you get it to the county clerk, well, that's clearly title insurance. That can happen. If it's filed after the deed and documentation are recorded, well, then we're what they call a race notice state. That is to say, the first person to the courthouse to give notice wins. So if you sell a piece of property, and I'm filing a lien against you, you sell your house, you get the deed to the courthouse before I can get my lien to the courthouse. It doesn't attach because you don't own the property at that point.
Okay, good.
Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. All right, good. Hopefully that helps. A reminder that might be helpful as well if you're thinking of selling, that we have a free, no obligation booklet that has hundreds of useful tips. That's free of charge, and all you need to do is send me an email if you'd like a copy. Bob@WeSellLouisville.com. Put selling tips in the subject line, and I'll send it out to you right away. Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Stephanie sent us an email asking what are closing costs associated with a mortgage. And Chuck, I'm going to bring you in on this one as well. And also, can they be negotiated? Seems like everything these days can be negotiated, but let's start with you, Randy. What are the closing costs from your end?
Yes, they can be negotiated. So closing costs average with escrow set up about 3% of the purchase price, somewhere in that area. If you're putting a lot more down, obviously it would not be, but 3% of the purchase price. So let me give an example. If you're buying a $300,000 house to set up your escrow and all your closing, it runs about $9,000. What is in closing for Swan? Usually you have a processing fee, credit report fee, verification of employment, and then on title, we have where they have to run the title search. There is title insurance, owners and lenders, which we really recommend owner's title because that covers you on just what you just talked about. If something comes in after the fact, the owner is protected as well. There are deed recordings. And then you set up your escrow, 15 months of insurance. And then whatever time you close, you set up your property tax, how much property tax you pay. You add all that up together, and it's 3%. Can you negotiate that? Absolutely. Sure, anything's negotiated, but there's a point where, everybody's got to make something, to make a living. Yeah. So there isn't a lot of wiggle room on closing costs. There really isn't. It's kind of very simple, and it's put out in what is called a loan estimate. And then you look it over, you go over it with your loan officer, and obviously you can choose what loan officer you want. You can choose what title company you want, but that's how we do it. And usually I can get through that with the client in about usually 20, 30 minutes. They kind of understand here's the roadmap. And then also on that, it also gives you what your payment will be, what you have to bring to closing and all the above, if any, if you don't do 0%.
And when you talk title company, talking about closing attorneys, you're talking about Chuck Crosby. And Chuck, from your perspective, closing costs, just to be very thorough on this answer.
My closing costs? Well, it's going to depend on where the property is. In different counties, there's different prices. Title examinations go up. Like if you want something out of Laurel County, the title exam is going to cost a little more and go from there. Now, what you're looking at on our side is title insurance. The Department of Financial Institutions, the rates are set with them. Most of the title insurance outfits are within $100, $200 of each other. Mm-hmm. So whether you go with Stewart or First American or whatever like that, most of the fees are going to be the same. The recording fees are always going to be the same: $50 to record a deed, $46 to record mortgages, etc. Usually, if there's a mortgage involved, it's about $130 to $180 to record everything. Our fees range from $450 to $550, depending, of course, like I said, on the different circumstances. It can go up, it can go down. The way I like to tell people when they call in is, hey, give me your address, tell me the purchase price, and all that kind of stuff, and we'll outline the exact costs for them. And as I always say, I think we're probably the least expensive outfit in town, and if we're not, I'll typically match it.
There you go. That's a deal. That's Chuck Crosby. We're going to take a break, by the way, and when we come back, why you may want to put a roll of toilet paper in your refrigerator, or may not, we'll review. But mentioning Chuck Crosby, he's the owner of the Crosby Law Office. They do closings and a great job at it, and other things, including wills, which are so important, powers of attorney, and other things. You can reach Chuck and his team, 499-6360. The other voice you've also been listening to, Brandy Rocky, he's one of the head guys at Swan Financial, where they do a great job shopping your loan to get you the best rate. And I can personally attest to the ability of Randy and Chuck, quite frankly, in getting the job done. Just recently, in fact, you can reach Randy on his cell phone at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or in the very near future or next year or beyond, I'd love to be able to help you. There's no home too big, no home too small, and we sell them pretty quickly, based on the price and location, of course. You can call me anytime on my cell phone, 376-5483, or you can go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form, hit submit, and if you're looking for that free no obligation analysis of what your home is worth. It's a computer analysis, but it's immediate. You can go to WeSellLouisville.com and click on the top of the page. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show. We're here with you till the top of the hour. Our thanks to Barbara Corcoran, who's a mentor friend, and you may have seen her on Shark Tank. She's a sharp lady and knows her stuff, and she endorses us, and we appreciate that. Continuing with us till the top of the hour, Chuck Crosby. He is the owner of the Crosby Law Office, and he does not only a great job at getting your home closed, but also with wills, powers of attorney, and foreclosure defense, and more. His number is 499-6360. Also continuing with with us, Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. They do a great job of getting you a great rate, and he'll shop the loan so you get the best rate out there. You can reach Randy at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or buying a home in the near future, I'd love to talk to you. I'd come out free, no obligation. We talk about the process, and if you decide you want to sell, we move forward. And you want to buy, we move forward. You can reach me anytime on my cell phone, 376-5483, or go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form, hit submit, and for that free, no obligation analysis of your home immediately by computer, go to WeSellLouisville.com and click at the top of the page. All right. I heard about this. I couldn't really pass up on it as the topic of discussion. Randy, Chuck, I'd like you to join in this. Did you ever, guys, put a roll of toilet paper in your refrigerator?
No.
No. Yeah. Okay. Neither have I. But it works as a deodorizer. So you might be wondering why toilet paper. It's the magic. And I got to tell you, my gut feeling is that this was actually written by one of the toilet paper companies. It's got to be. But basically, it's the absorbing unpleasant odors that toilet paper provides by soaking up excess moisture and trapping bad smells inside the fridge. Okay. I mean, on the premise, it does sound like it. Fridge often accumulates moisture from produce and liquids and even condensation, creating the perfect environment for musty smells. According to this report, the toilet paper acts as a sponge, pulling in excess moisture while also helping to neutralize odors. So, I mean, it sounds like it's the same thing as baking soda, right? Did you guys ever put?
Yeah, I've done baking soda before. I've done the activated charcoal.
Mm-hmm.
I keep a freezer for drying meat. Don't even ask. But I will use some high quality charcoal to keep the smells down in there, and that usually works pretty well. But I've also tried the baking soda; it works fine.
Yep. Other alternatives: coffee grounds, oatmeal, cucumber slices, lemon or citrus peels. Those are some other alternatives.
That just sounds like it's covering up a smell.
Oh, it may be. Yeah, rather than absorbing. Yeah, the problem that I have, just so you know, is if you have guests over or family over and they open your refrigerator and they see a roll of toilet paper. Right?
That just...
yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I'm sorry, toilet paper company, whoever may have written this. Yeah, I would tell you there's a problem with just opening it. And okay, we move on. Chuck Crosby over at the Crosby Law Offices. Emma sent us this fascinating question. It's for an attorney like yourself and any attorneys listening to us. Unfortunately for the rest of us, it's going to sound like a foreign language. So, Chuck, strap in. Here it comes. Emma says both her mom and dad passed away. We're sorry about that. Recently. And she was reading her mother's will. And the will says the property, here it comes. The property is conveyed as fee simple and during their joint natural lives, with the remainder in fee simple to the survivor of them, his or her heirs, successors, and assigns. Right, assigns.
In perpetuity.
And so she's wondering, what does this mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a will so much as a deed. That's the language to set up joint survivorship.
Okay.
You convey property from A to B and C for their lives with remainder in fee simple to the survivors of them, their heirs and assigns forever, sometimes in perpetuity. What it means is that when one of the grantees passes, the other grantee owns 100%. So it's 50-50 while they're alive. When one dies, it becomes 100%, as opposed to, say, something like just joint tenants, where they own 50-50, and if one of them passes, their 50% doesn't go to the other person necessarily, but goes to their heirs. Okay.
Yeah.
So you and I own a piece of property together, joint tenants, tenants in common, is what we would call it. I die, you don't get my half. My kids, my wife get my half. If it's together for our lives with the remainder in fee simple to the survivor of them, I pass away, you get my part.
Got it. I think.
Got it.
But I think it's enough to answer the question, and hopefully, if anybody ever has questions, I'll give you Chuck's number. He'll be able to help you and answer those questions for you. A quick reminder, I haven't done it recently, but I've done some videos at closing tables, and I should probably start that up again, interviewing our sellers when we close about what the process was like. If you'd like to see them, we put them up on YouTube. You can go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com, LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. It's an eye-opening experience when you're selling your home, and hopefully we live up to the status of being good at what we do. Back over to Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. Randy, Diana sent us an email. She says, can I change my mind after I sign the loan closing documents for a refinance of my mortgage? And she's also wondering, what is right of rescission? So, Randy, let's answer those questions.
You can change your mind up to 3 business days after closing on a refinance. Yes, at any time during the process, you can change your mind and step away from it. On a purchase, Chuck, you can.
It's a done deal.
Yeah, it's a done deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as you sign, game over.
Yeah, on a purchase, but on a refi, it's much.
But it's not just a refi; it's a refi of a principal residence.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's
refi of a principal residence. With that said, if we were to close today on the refi, tonight at midnight is when the rescission period starts. So you can cancel or for any or no reason from between midnight tonight. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, midnight, and then it's carved into stone.
Okay.
Now you have to provide the borrower with the notices on how to rescind, which is typically it'll have a mailing address. You have to mail the notice, contact the mortgage company by that time, and then go from there.
You can
decide and what is it on a rental, on a refinance?
It's a done deal. It has to be your principal residence.
That's right. Right. So on a refinance rental, very well said. I forgot. Yeah.
Good. You can sign up for our monthly video updates. We send them out twice a month. You can go to WeSellLouisville.tv. That's WeSellLouisville.tv. Chuck Crosby, Crosby Law Office. Matt says his family home has 3 years of back taxes due and is about to be auctioned off. I guess that's what he's referring to. He says he's interested in paying the back taxes as long as he can get the house in his name. There's a caveat here. There are 3 other siblings who also inherited the house from his parents, so he's sharing that. He's asking, how does he get the deed in his name only? Also, this is a good question. I wrote parenthetically when I put this in here, for anybody who inherits a family home and has sisters and brothers. So, Chuck?
All right. Well, if the property was inherited by 3 people, and there's back taxes and it's in foreclosure for taxes, well, yeah, you can pay the taxes off all the way up until the commissioner's sale, and get it out of foreclosure. Getting it into your name alone is a whole other ball of wax. Then you have to get all the heirs and their spouses together and sign off on a deed to you, like any other purchase of property. If they don't want to do that, then it's just not going to happen. Now, a way around that is if it's already set up for a commissioner's sale, okay, it's going to go up for auction. Okay, it's an absolute auction. What you bid is what it's sold for. So you show up at the auction, you can bid on the property. And if you're the high bidder, then you get the property and you can get it put in your name. If it's going up for taxes, generally the plaintiff, it's going to have several $1,000s in taxes, let's say. That's all they're going to bid in. Okay, so now you're just bidding against anybody else that shows up at the commissioner's sale, and there may be some. There's people who make a living off of showing up at commissioner's sales. They've done all the research, they know what the property's worth, and then they will try and buy the property. Now, if you are the successful bidder at one of these commissioner sales for less than 2/3 of the court appraised value, there's going to be a 6-month period where the folks who lost the property can come back and redeem it. That is to say, pay you what you paid plus 10% plus any legitimate costs you incurred in keeping the property safe and secure, and then you get the property back.
Okay. So what I hear you say out of all that is that he can go to the commissioner's sale and buy it, but he may have to outbid somebody else who's looking.
Yeah, he'll have competition.
Yeah, and if you lose, whoever buys it's gonna take. Yeah. You can buy it from that person or pay the.
You can, but the price is going to go up.
Yeah,
at least it usually does.
Yeah. Yeah. There are people
if somebody buys it that's not a family member, I just want to make this clear, I think, and they do a ton of remodel on it, and 5 months later
You come in.
You
and you
come
want to buy
in.
Back. There's
And is
then it's an
there a
argument.
remodeling cost? Oh, okay.
It's an argument. Okay,
Ah.
they are allowed to get their or the price they paid at 10% plus reasonable fees for securing the property. So if there's a hole in the roof and they fix the hole in the roof, definitely they're going to get that. Okay. However, if they go through and they remodel the bathroom and they put gold-plated toilets in there, they're not going to get all that cost back.
Good.
Will they get most of it?
No, usually just if the bathroom didn't need to be replaced. See, you have a hearing, commissioner's hearing, as to what was necessary. Okay, and that includes things like insurance and taxes and HOA fees, things like that. So those get recouped as well. But if you go and you take a room that is perfectly fine and you remodel it, well, technically you're not going to get any of that back. But you argue it because you're going to say things like, "Well, there was mold under the rug, and we had to blah blah blah." It gets into a thing.
We are out of time, folks. That was a great question there and a great answer. My thanks to Chuck Crosby, the Crosby Law Offices. They do real estate closings and a good job at it. Wills, powers of attorney, commissioner's sale. You can reach Chuck on his phone at 499-6360. You can also reach Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial, where they shop the loan, get you the best deal, use high tech to be able to get you pre-approved and ready to close. You can reach Randy and the folks over there at 645-0736. And if you're thinking of selling your home now or buying a home now or in the near future, I would so much love to be able to help you. You can reach me anytime, day or night. There's no home too big, no home too small. But come out, no obligation analysis. We talk, and then you can decide what you want to do. But at least you know the process, and we can talk about staging and get that part of it done as well. You can reach me on my cell phone, 376-5483, or you go to bobsellslouisville.com, fill out the form, hit submit. Or you can get a free analysis of your home's worth by computer by going to WeSellLouisville.com. We're out of time. Our thanks. Hopefully you had a great Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, and we look forward to seeing you next week, which technically is in the new year as we start 2025. Folks, we wish you the very best. I'll see you next Sunday on News Radio 840 WHAS.